We're there.
Hello, everyone. This is Scratch and Jack, your host for the Amazing Plastics Sunday Hangout. Amazing Plastic is a Google Plus community of scale modelers of all shapes and sizes, interests, genres, and skill levels who like to share their tips and tricks with one another, learn more about their craft, and perhaps even share their scale modeling achievements. And you know, I got to say, Amazing Plastic is perhaps the fastest growing, and the largest scale modeling community on Google Plus Communities. Right now, we have 1,693. So that's up from, I think, 2 from yesterday.
Yeah.
So this averages 2 or 3 a day, maybe as much as 5 to 10 a week. Anyway, joining us today are Amazing Plastic members and followers of Amazing Plastic, some of which are probably stalkers. We'd like to talk about scale modeling, and if you have any questions, if you're watching, if you have any questions, I have the question and answer thing open. It's always open. And if you want to join us, just text me. Boy, I've been on Heath all this time. Boy, I'm not a control person either. Anyway, how you doing, Heath?
I'm very well, thank you, Jack. And keep an eye on that 1701 because if it does happen, we need to see it.
I got to learn how to do a screen grab. You know, I have this thing, the Studio Pro here, and I was on you all this time when I was doing my intro. So it was like you're being a ventriloquist. So what are you working on today?
I am actually working on my Bandai X-Wing. I am actually putting the decals on.
Ooh, fun. I was watching the evening news. ABC is a network here in the States. Their parent company is Disney, and they had a special report, and they had a little film trailer too. Basically, it's a female character looking up in the sky, seeing all these TIE fighters flying overhead, and that was like, you know,
that's coming up very quickly.
Yeah. It's coming up, and you know what I really dislike Disney for is releasing it at Christmas time.
Yeah.
It's not enough Christmas time is what it is.
My daughter loves it because it comes out a week after her birthday.
Whose?
My daughter's birthday is on the 7th.
Oh.
And it comes out a week after.
It's coming out on Christmas Day here, I think.
It's coming in here on the 17th.
Her birthday's on Pearl Harbor Day?
Well, that's the day that lived in infamy. Yes, that lives in infamy. Mm-hmm.
Yep, her birthday is the 7th of December.
No kidding. I know someone who has the 7th. They always introduce, well, if you want to know my birthday, just find out what day of infamy it is.
It's a good day.
I ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, you can have a group build of Japanese Zeros for
that would be cool. That would be cool.
For the 7th, celebrate the 7th.
Yeah, but you know, Japanese kits can be pretty expensive there, Mike.
The Zeros are worth it. For the majority of the companies that produce good plastic model airplanes in the 1/32nd scale, the Tamiya is supposed to be one of the very best, and I think the Hasegawa is very high quality also. I don't think they do a 1/24th, but I know they do the 1/48th, and they do the 1/32nd and the 1/70.
48 for me. 48 scale would I be working in an aircraft? So
that's a fairly good size.
That is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when it's a single engine, it was a small aircraft to begin with, so it's not.
Well, the Mitsubishi Zero was a very, very effective aircraft for the Japanese.
Yeah.
It was also one of the most deadliest.
Well, hi, Mike.
How you doing,
Mike?
Amazing Plastics old fart.
And you're with the times. You spelled it with a PH. You're
yes.
So hip right now.
I would have put a hash mark in front of it, except I keep hearing it as when I see one, a pound sign goes in my mind. I don't know.
So how you doing, James?
I'm doing fine there, Jack. Been working today and trying to build this, jig for my Enterprise.
Ooh, a jig, huh?
Yeah, so I can align the nacelles.
The jig is up.
The jig is up.
The jig is up and gone.
Nice.
Now you got a jig. You can go into mass production.
Yeah.
And what is the purpose of this jig?
To keep the nacelles aligned while the glue dries.
Okay. Yeah, I see the pylons are missing there.
Yeah, there's no pylons on it yet. I just got the nacelles sitting on the side supports on the jig right now. They're just sitting there. But the idea is that's already lined up properly with the saucer section, and then when I glue it in, I don't have to fight with it.
Right. That gives you an idea there, Mr. Heath?
Yes, that gives me an idea there.
Yeah.
That's really good. That would, oh hell, that would be even good for the 350 scale kits too. I mean,
yeah.
After all, one of our friend Simon Merckx, he's built that Enterprise, I don't know, dozens of times already.
Yeah.
And he says one of the problems is making those pylons and the nacelles look right.
Yeah.
And even Steve Neal is redoing his, I don't know what scale it is, the TOS that he's made.
Yeah, it's not a scale, it's so many feet.
Yeah.
Right, and he even says, well, it might look, off, but it's right. And also because the nacelle is tapered too, that makes it even more difficult. So anyway, that's what you're working with is that the jig is up there, huh?
Yeah, but the same type application could be used for any model.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a firm believer in jigs for certain applications. Makes it easier and can solve a lot of problems.
Yeah, one of the things for scale model cars, it can be awful handy to make a jig so that you don't end up setting the car down and one tire's off the ground.
Yeah.
It's highly recommended on fenderless hot rods because they're kind of flimsy. Your dragsters and your hot rods, to make a jig so that all four wheels touch the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And also, model car kits quite often are warped out as they come in the box.
Yep.
And a jig helps you straighten them out.
I just invited Keith in to be attending shortly.
Who?
Keith, our Tasmanian devil.
I was just talking to him.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, I did a poll on the community not too long ago. Okay, is that still doing this? Okay. I did send it to you, Keith. I did send it to you. Anyway, I did a poll about paint. What kind of paint our modelers are using? Let's see. I do believe, well, I'd have to scroll down and find it, but I do believe that 71% out of maybe almost 60 people who responded use acrylics. And I'd say, I think maybe 11% was using enamels.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was interesting because I was just talking to my other half, and he would get model of the month when he was a kid. And he remembers the paint. It was awful. Because the only thing at the time was enamel paints. Does that surprise you?
The only way you could get lacquers was to use fingernail polishes that said lacquer on them.
Yeah.
Right. But what do you think of that? I mean, you've been around a long time and modeling for just about the same amount of time too. There has been a shift to acrylic paints. What do you think about that?
I think it's great because people are being concerned about the odors, and some people in some places don't have a good spot to put a fume hood and stuff like that. So the acrylics get around the odor problem and being a nuisance with the rest of their family because of it.
And it's waterproof too. You can use water to clean it.
Yeah, it's it's water based, so it's easier to thin and to clean up.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I think also that a year and a half ago, maybe almost 2 years ago, one of the top subjects on Model Car Magazine, the poisonousness, wearing respirators, eye protection, gloves, using well-ventilated area, which you'll read on the bottle of most enamels. It says in a well-ventilated area.
Yeah.
And using spray booths that exhaust outdoors. And people were trying to figure a way to exhaust into, say, a bucket of water and catch the fumes, which wasn't working. You would need a activated charcoal room in order to get rid of all those fumes. But I still use enamels, not so much to airbrush with, but there's certain testers colors that I won't go away from because I know that I can use them on small detail parts, and it will flow out and will not show brush marks. There's certain reds, blacks, a couple of different oranges and that I prefer to use a brushed enamel. And I don't mind cleaning it up. Acetone will clean it. Anything will clean it. Lacquer thinner.
Shellac. I was thinking of lacquer. So the upholster myself. Well, I didn't do it right.
Well, lacquers are they're handy because a lot of them will dry pretty quickly. I use automotive lacquers outside, out in a rattle can. One good thing about lacquers and plastic modeling is your primers will etch into the plastic and it really does hold. Where some of the acrylic primers don't hold without using an adhesion promoter. But this new Badger primer, which cleans up real well with water, it holds pretty good. I don't know what they've done, but they've gotten it so it holds. There's some advances in paints that are coming along on the molecular level that they're thinking that eventually they'll be able to paint a automobile and it'll be all one molecule, long chain.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, that's what they're thinking they can do. That will be interesting to see what happens when it gets broke down to our scales.
Well, the atomic level is pretty small.
Well, there's a liquid chrome process that they can chrome parts with now. They've chromed the Mercedes race cars, Grand Prix cars. The outside body is a spray-on chrome. It's a liquid thing. That's on the molecular level. It's a what do they call them? Polymer.
Polymers, yes.
Yeah, it's a long chain polymer that covers the whole damn car. That's amazing what they're coming up with. And they were only forced to start doing this because of environmental concerns caused them to get away from the old standby paints.
Yeah.
And that's what's caused them modeling to get away from the old standby paints because these I just bought some of this Vallejo acrylic metal colors, and this it works very well. You don't have to rub it out or anything, and I watched demonstrations on television and the chrome. I mean,
wow. Yeah. I use. I'm gonna show it shortly too. I'm actually pretty impressed with with Vallejo. Out of the survey, only 2 of us, I was one of them who voted for the brand specific. I am almost just about exclusively using Vallejo. Every now and again, when I didn't have orange Vallejo, I have a orange enamel, but that was like one time, and I'm sorry I did that. I ruined the brush. Anyway, I was actually really surprised that 10% of the respondents use rattle cans. Almost exclusively.
Yeah, but you know, I use rattle cans, but I don't use the little testers too much.
Right.
I have some. I have some Tamiya rattle cans, and I have some testers, but there's like glues. There's places you use one type, and another place you use another. It's
right. Well, if you have been to the Home Depot lately, Tester's paint is manufactured by Rust-Oleum, and now Rust-Oleum, out of rattle cans, have a variety of paint. Texture paints, array of colors. So if you were doing a car body, rattle can makes sense.
Yeah.
Because a rattle can,
in my case,
you don't even need to necessarily prime it.
I have to do it outdoors. And
well, yeah, you have to do it outdoors, sure, of course, unless you've got a good ventilating system in a spray booth. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what surprised me. I put down rattle cans. I was thinking that would be the least use. I thought brand specific respondents would be much more than rattle cans. I was actually quite impressed.
Well, a lot of people too go from brush to rattle cans before they get into airbrushing type thing too. So
sure.
That's usually the progression.
Well, yeah, my Stealth Bomber is out of a rattle can because it's a flat paint, and I thought, well, and you know what? The rattle can paint is really nice. Mm-hmm. It's really difficult to mess up that unless you like overspray it and it starts to run. But it lays really smooth, multiple layers, no sanding needed. It works really well. I'm actually surprised that I'm just surprised that a lot of people are using rattle can. Yeah, but because right now I'm using the Vallejo, and this F84 wants to be colored steel. I don't know what's the difference between aluminum and steel color with Vallejo, but I think the aluminum is a little brighter. But this is the Vallejo Air that I hand brushed on.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no reason that if it's a good quality paint, it'll lay down. The brush strokes won't show.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, yeah, you had to really, well, I learned how to paint from a guy when I worked at a hardware store. He was a professional painter. Like, he painted rooms, houses, and he said a paintbrush is meant to pull paint, not push it.
Yeah.
Meaning use the tips of the bristles as much as you can to pull the paint across the surface. That helps make it smooth. And sure enough, I had a, what do you call it? No, this is too big. I had a flat-ended brush like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had it pull, and it worked really well.
Yeah. Brush choices, they're all over the board. I mean, you can go on the internet and see all kinds of arguments and stuff like that about brush painting. Mm-hmm. And
yeah.
I maintain that one type of paint will need one kind of brush, and another type of paint will need another kind of brush. And it's a matter of experience and practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Yeah, and I've even had some people in the survey said that they're pretty enamel users. One guy said he's a dinosaur, and he still uses enamels. He says he might give acrylics a try because it's so popular.
Yeah, there's a learning curve with acrylics, though. That you've found that out, haven't you?
I think it was more the learning curve putting it through the airbrush as opposed to brushing it on, because the air variety is very thin. If you use the model paint, it's a much thicker. It's almost jelly-like, almost like a real thick syrup. But you can certainly thin that out and use it in the airbrush. But I think what I learned a lot had to learn a lot is how to airbrush. A totally different technique than you would use, from my perspective, that you would use a rattle can.
Yes.
I can put a pretty heavy coat on a rattle can and get away with it. Rather heavy, not the heaviest that it runs. I'm just saying rather heavy. But with an airbrush, you got to put in. I put in 3 light coats, and then if I need to put it heavier in any other spot that doesn't get covered, then I do it one more time. But that was the hard part, is to take the time, be patient. And with acrylics, what's interesting is above and beyond enamels, it kind of dries to the touch faster, so you can put the second light layer on it, and also have a pretty good distance between the brush and the object. About probably, I'm talking about 15, 18 inches away, and it goes on dry. It's actually pretty cool how it all works. So that was a learning curve for me.
Yeah.
That was a learning curve for me. How you doing, Jay? I haven't seen you forever. Are you still alive?
Yeah, my internet has been causing a lot of trouble. In fact, if I'm able to stay on here for very long, I will be surprised.
Well,
there's been a lot of outages in our area, and it's just been causing all kinds of trouble. So, in fact, I tried to get on at the beginning of the episode, and it wouldn't let me. So if I disappear suddenly, it's not my fault.
Right. I saw on the news that the UP of Michigan got like a foot of snow almost.
Yeah, well, I'm not in the UP, fortunately, but
they're close enough to Lake Michigan, though.
Yeah, still. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna do my best to stick around and all that other good stuff.
So you picked up some stuff about painting. Did you see the poll that I ran on the community?
Yeah.
Were you surprised at the results?
No, acrylics have kind of become the standard. A couple of reasons for that. One of the main ones is that for the longest time, enamel paints were made with lead. Mm-hmm. And when they first started coming out with enamel paints that didn't have lead in them, they were pretty crappy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I used to love Humbrol paint, and when they took the lead out of the Humbrol paint, it turned into really crappy paint to work with. And it was about that time that acrylics started to become really popular. So, I still use acrylics mostly, but I also use enamels and I use lacquer. So, but acrylic more than anything else.
But I was saying that the 10% of responders are using rattle cans almost exclusively.
I use rattle cans mainly for primer, or sometimes if I've got to. If I'm doing something that I know the whole thing is going to be one basic color, I might use a rattle can for it.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on
So
how lazy I want to be. If I want to set up the airbrushes and things like that, then
Not to repeat myself, but I was saying earlier that if you go to the Home Depot, Rust-Oleum makes the Testors paint, and they've come up with a whole bunch of colors since they took over Testors.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get pretty clever colors from a rattle can, not just the basic black, white, blue, red, orange, red, yellow. They're coming out with seafoam greens and like a baby blue. Actually,
they also have some incredible primer that sticks to virtually any kind of plastic, including vinyl.
Yeah, including those lawn chairs that they sit out in the sun. They get kind of crappy looking.
Yeah.
It will cover that up really well.
Yeah, and I will use that, especially on like a vinyl figure or something. I'll use that as a primer. It's great stuff.
I just saw an ad for Humbrol acrylics. They're still in the little cans.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it said acrylics on them.
I always liked that little can. It's like a house paint can, but it's only this big.
Yeah, a little mini paint can. Yeah.
I think you two just convinced me about that, because I did paint my stealth bomber with the cheap, like the 97 cents can from the Home Depot, which is basic black. And I'm doing a monster truck that needs to be black. So I think you're right. I think I'm going to use that as a primer. I think I'm going to just next weekend, if it's really nice out, I'm going to go out there and go at it with the parts.
Just shake the hell out of the can and preferably heat it up in some hot water.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do that, particularly if the weather is a little cool. If it's below
Absolutely.
50 degrees out, I do heat the paint can up pretty warm, almost just warm enough to touch it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, you wanna do that.
One time I did that. I had this, the slop sink down in the basement. I had a bucket. I filled it up with pretty on a hottish, warmest side, and I put the can in there. And I have my workbench down there, so I walked across the room, and I hear this loud pop. And I'm like,
I forgot to check the flaming can.
I think the rattle can exploded. It's like, I wonder if there's paint everywhere. As it turns out, the bottom, as it is, it's concave, and while not concave, now it's convex. You can't set it on the table; it won't sit.
Yeah, I've heard of a couple people who've had that problem, and it's really kind of a case of your water was probably a little too hot.
A little too warm, and too much. It wasn't full enough. I mean, if you have a brand new can, you can get it pretty warm.
Yeah.
The gases inside is what expands the most. Not the paint.
Yeah,
that's when you're decanting. You have to be careful and learn the lessons of decanting aerosol can paint into bottles so that you can use them with your airbrush. That you have to not fill the bottle with the aerosol paint and don't put the lid on it for an hour because the propellant still dissolved in the liquid. And it'll pop the lid right off your bottle. Yeah, the ad for Humbrol that I thought I saw is weathering powders and enamel washes.
Oh yeah, they just came out with a set of the washes and such. I think it's in. Maybe it was a video I saw. I thought it might have been in a new scale modeler.
Yeah, it is in the fine scale.
Yeah.
Also, something I didn't know. I guess they have something to do with Hornby Hobbies and Humbrol.com. Airfix, Humbrol Corgi, Scale Extractic, Stickit, and Posher, and some other things. So I guess that these other companies are all under one roof.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. But I know that they were talking about having some. Humbrol's got fantastic enamels, or they used to anyway. And I used a lot of them in model railroading. Because it was just right for buildings and box cars. And I mean, there's a lot of things that Humbrol have the correct color called out by the model railroad magazines and stuff like that at the time.
Yeah. Flowquill. Flowquill is a real good one for model railroaders as well.
Yeah, Flowquill for engines and the machinery type parts.
Are they still around?
Flowquill has been bought. Testers owns that.
Oh, okay.
Testers owned by Rust-Oleum.
Yeah. Well, I did see an ad for a Flowquill, but I'm pretty sure that Testers owns it now, or as you say, Rust-Oleum owns it.
Oh, Rust-Oleum owns a lot of the enamel paints. Testers makes Model Master, which is the acrylic paint. I tried using that. It's gloppy. It's not very. It does not.
Well, there's a Model Master lacquer and a Model Master acrylic.
Yeah, I don't like the acrylic. I don't like the Model Master acrylic. I don't. It's too gloppy. It's hard to thin, and it just doesn't work for me.
Right.
Well,
I used acrylic. I used acrylic for my Enterprise, and I've had no trouble with it. Absolutely no trouble with it at all.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I used the Humbrol. both spray and tin, and I've had no trouble with it. It hasn't gone bumpy or anything like that.
This week I picked up this kit from Hobby Lobby. It was in their clearance rack for $3.
Wow.
So I figured it was worth grabbing, and I very foolishly thought I might possibly be able to light it. And then I opened it up.
He can't.
Mitch is lighting his.
The one thing that is very cool about this is they come with a complete set of Aztecing decals.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
That's nice.
Nice.
You know, that works out really well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Mitch is lighting those cadet ones. Mitch is lighting them.
I might be able to do something. I mean, I certainly am not going to be able to do individual windows, but I could do the sensor and maybe the engines.
Yeah. So your MG there, mister.
Yeah, that's before I got it finished.
Oh, I thought this looks like it is finished.
No, there's no windshield on it.
No windshield on it. Yeah.
It's actually not glued together. It's just that I was test fitting things.
Didn't in the day they wear goggles? They didn't need windshields. They wore goggles.
You could buy that with little shorty windscreens. You could have them put on there. You take off the regular windscreen and put the little shorties on there.
That's one of them British cars. They don't have those luxury extras, you know, like windshields and brakes and things like that.
Heaters.
Yeah, you don't need that stuff.
But I do like.
That's nice.
What's that?
This is the 25,000 scale Enterprise refit.
Mm-hmm.
That yellow paint, that's Cretex. Yellow.
Oh,
Texas.
MG. There again, that's craft.
It sounds as though you'll just use anything as long as it works. Doesn't matter what brand it is. Doesn't matter what is it, enamel or acrylic or whatever else.
It's whatever seems to work. Well, that body had automotive primer on it because it's a metal body. It's die cast body. So.
I didn't know you could paint die cast.
Huh?
I didn't know you could paint die cast.
Sure you can.
Sure, I would think it would be.
If you clean the hell out of it, wash it down with vinegar, then prime it. It'll hold paint wonderfully. If you don't clean it with vinegar or don't properly prime it, it will peel right off.
Yeah.
You know what I found that works better than Dawn dish liquid as far as cleaning your model parts? That would be just degreaser. Just dilute it in warm water, and it works really well.
Yeah.
I don't have to scrub it. It actually just dissolves it right off the bat.
The type of material that is on the mold release is in the same family as PAM.
Okay, and that's what I was suggesting, that you use not necessarily vinegar, you could use degreaser, could you not?
No, on the die cast, what you're removing is zinc oxide.
Wow,
it's zinc, and die cast, you're removing the rust, the equivalent rust, off of the well, it has mold release. It's a red, gooey shit. The mold release on die-cast is a red, gooey stuff. But it's what I'm cleaning is the oxidation that oxidizes in the box.
Right.
They're oxidized, and then I'm cleaning that off so that paint will stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, the oxidized stuff will just let it paint peel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now with plastic, you don't want to use vinegar. That's a waste of time and trouble. And Dawn dish soap and or Purple Power or
purple stuff. The degreaser I used, and It worked really well. All I had to do was soak it for a few minutes. Didn't have to scrub it. It came out squeaky clean.
Yeah.
It was really. No, I'm swearing by it now.
Yeah. They used to use a type of oil, and now they've gone away from the petroleum-based stuff to more vegetable oil-based thing for the EPA. So that they, when they're molding these things, there's just that mold comes open. They pop out the plastic. There's water and stuff, cooling things dripping down off of it. They spray the mold. It slams back together and injects hot-ass plastic in there.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them have automatic. It's all automatic. There's nobody there to spray the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they recycle that mold release, by the way. It's pumped through and continues. And the cooling water is all recycled because they're not allowed to release that into the environment.
Mm-hmm.
That's what shut down Samsonite here. They had one of the largest injection molding factories in the United States. It was in Denver, and because they made all those suitcases just by the thousands. Those are all injection molded, and the EPA and the Boulderites and that ran them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it is important to clean your model kit before cleaning it or priming it. But I've also, I go back to, I've been experimenting with a lot of stuff. I did not wash I don't believe I washed my Stealth Bomber. I just sprayed the cheap paint right onto it, and it works just fine. So
that's a matter of luck.
Yeah, sometimes you get lucky.
Really? I would think the solvents inside the aerosol would neutralize the release on the model.
That's another thing. See, in some spray cans, the chemicals, you got the paint, you have the vehicle that carries the paint out of the can and into right. The vehicle, and then you have other additives. There's fish eye reducer, hardener. There's flow enhancers. There's retarders inside that can. When you shake it all up, that's why you want to spray for a little bit and then shake. Spray for a little bit and then shake. You want to continue to do that, even with a warm can, because those additives that they add to the spray can separate.
Yes. I agree with that, but when it comes to acrylic, I'm very, very conscientious about the surface that I'm painting.
The acrylics won't put up with as much stuff.
You know what? I'm not much of a hand washer, but when I'm modeling, I'm washing my hands at least 2 or 3 times during a sitting.
Yeah. Or you can have
I have just eaten or something.
You can wear the.
That's too clinical for me.
The surgical gloves, yeah.
Yeah, these are the mechanics ones. These don't have the powder in them. And they're not latex. But yeah, if you need to give someone a finger wave, it's handy to have them. One of the things I'm working on, the Duesenberg models that I'm building several. The hood has this plastic molded thing that I was trying to drill out, and as you can see, a piece busted out of it. And that goes on like that. Anyway, it isn't realistic. So I built this stainless steel screen and a frame that I scratch built out of very fine quarter round material. What is it called? It's called plastic strut.
Yeah.
And then I've been wrapping it with
foil.
Yeah, bare metal foil.
Metal foil, yes.
And then but that's the metal one, the die cut. This one here is a plastic one, plastic kit, and the white part is scratch built out of plastic strut rectangular.
Yes, the rectangular stripping. Yes.
It's glued in. So when I paint this, after I'm done with this part and it's finished and proper, then I've got screen to glue behind it, so that it looks. So on the real car, you can see the engine, or a good part of the engine, through the hood on the driver's side. On the passenger side, exhaust pipes come out.
Oh, okay.
You know, I think that adds a little detail. I tried it without shining a light in there to reflect the light back. You can't really see the engine inside, but it's still better than a solid chunk of plastic that I was trying to drill out and broke. So when you break things, and that, it doesn't mean you have to give up on the project. You just have to find a
substitute.
A substitute, yeah.
You know what? I do not need anything that prevents me from giving up on the kit. I think the kit. I was just telling James about this F84. My Mojo has actually. I want to move on. I want to get done. You know what? I didn't do much today. I only glued like a wheel on and washed the kit that I'm going to do next. And now I realize I got to put something on the wings, like bombs or like a nuke or something. I got to do that. And further, I mean, the way this is, there's like a tripod. I got to put a little post back here. The kit comes with a clear post. You put glue into it, so because it doesn't sit.
No, because you're supposed to put fishing weights. You're supposed to take some split fishing weights and put it in the nose above the front wheel thing. That's old time modeling. Is you just put fishing weights in there.
Oh yeah, but the nose was a little empty. That's where the air intake is. There wasn't any room there.
You put it back there. You put it back there where the landing gear bay. You put it back behind the landing gear bay where you don't see it.
Just in front of the instrument panel.
Yeah.
You can use nuts, fishing weights, whatever.
Yeah, nuts or BBs.
Bullet casings.
You can melt down some wheel weights.
That would have to be pretty heavy. I think it would have to be at least a quarter of an ounce.
It should have on the instructions. It should tell you how much weight has to go in the front.
Well, no, they just give you instructions to put a post on the tail.
They cheat and they give them a post to put in the tail.
Yeah. Well, that's all right with a C-54. They had a post. That's how that was real live thing. As soon as they landed, they ran around, stuck the post under the tail, so when they unloaded, it wouldn't tip down on the butt. But
well, I can make it pretend it's taking off, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Most of your models will tell you how much weight. It says in the instructions how much weight to put in the nose. So many ounces or grams or parts of an ounce.
I remember when they used to include them.
Yeah, they used to give them
in the box. They used to give you some like a little blob of steel to glue in so that it'll stay where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the model railroading, some of your box cars or gondola cars, or that they give you weights to put in them to hold your.
Oh yeah, they give you a weight.
Engine.
Yeah.
Hold your box cars or whatever to the
on
track.
the track. Yeah, to give you a whole plate that screws down to the bottom of it. Yeah.
And then I have one that has a coal load that's on top, and it's pretty heavy. So the weight that goes to the bottom is like twice the weight. But the more weight you can put on those railroad cars, the better your train pulls.
Mm-hmm. Well, the next issue that I have with my experiment, I'm actually considering doing it now, is the monster truck. Let's see if all the parts are in a lid.
Yeah.
It's the Munster's monster truck. Okay.
Yeah.
Use your imagination.
Does it come with a decal?
Yes. Yes. Herman's face is on the seal on the roof, as well as on the sides. Oh gosh.
Cool.
Let me get these parts. Yeah. Here it is. This is. I did the Munsters coach last year for Halloween. This year it's going to be this monster truck. Yeah. As you see, there's a nice light bar at the top here. Let me hold on a second.
Yeah.
There's a nice light bar on the roof there.
Yeah.
And I want to light it up with SMDs.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Exactly
right. There's the light bar.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And SMDs, if y'all watching, wondering what they are, this is a very tiny LED.
Yep.
And the wire is pretty thin. I think it will be like a thickness of maybe a horse's mane. And it kind of feels that way because it has some rigidity to it. Because, well, after all, it's copper. I can certainly fit this SMD inside this thing, but then I got left the wires. That's the problem I'm going to be working through. See what I can do about it.
You don't have to hide the wires because they're not hidden on real ones.
Really?
Yeah.
No, they're not hidden. They put them in harnesses and gaudy them. They fancy them up with harnesses and stuff. And they do drop down. Eventually, they drop down into the roll bar. But you know, the lights are the wires are not totally hidden. No.
No, they cover them with wire mold and stuff like that.
Mold or something.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So you can run the wires down and just tie them with thread, just like you would for make it look like wrap ties.
Yeah.
And then along the bar, and then bring it in down the side of the hood.
Yeah.
The side of the roof.
Yeah, and you can
a lot of wire. There's 5 of these things.
Yeah, but you could run them in series.
You take 2 or 3 one direction and the rest the other direction. It's no big deal.
Yeah, but Jack, if you run them in series, you'll only have 2 wires coming down.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, this is true, but I also have Plastrock tubing, which is pretty. Well,
Okay.
a whole bunch of these will fit through it. I could probably use that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think run them in series will save you a little more work, and you know, the split loom is one of the things that they use on off-road vehicles a lot because it's easy to get rid of when things screw up. You can just rip it off there and, you know, tie the wire back together after it's broke.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And if y'all wondering if it's going to be bright enough, that tiny little thing, let's see if this is going to be. Come on, work. Where is it? Here, tilt it down.
But you can also get real tiny heat shrink too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is pretty bright.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, this is resisted. It's on 8.8 volts, and it runs on 12, up to 12, and that will make it awfully bright. But I'll probably be running it as a 9. So I think it'll be fine with a 9. Yeah, I want to light that up. I want to light the headlights up. I was just talking to James about that. I'm going to have to make a silicone mold of the, because it only comes with a decal. Here's a grill.
Oh, yeah.
And okay.
That's because The real truck is just a fiberglass phony body. It's not real. The grill is not real. It's just fiberglass painted to look like a grill. That's why there's no detail in the lights. The lights are genuinely painted on the real truck.
On polycarbonate, yeah.
I see. So So you're saying don't even bother trying lightening them up?
You can if you want for funsies.
Well, it would be helpful if I saw the real thing.
Well, YouTube monster trucks. There's all kinds of YouTube videos of monster trucks in action. What's his name? Army Armstrong doing the play-by-play. Tractor pulls, monster trucks. You'll see that it's just the bodies are fiberglass shells, just like a little radio control truck. You know, the monster trucks, the little radio control ones. You know, that's all it is, a fiberglass shell.
Well, yeah.
Usually they don't put much glass in the front because if you watch monster trucks in action, they end up on their nose quite often, or on their ass, or on top, or doing flips.
True, but would you say that the light bar is lit up on them?
Sometimes I think they do, and then they put those neon lights underneath that shine down. They do a lot of that.
That's what I'm about to say. That I was going to. The body, actually, the chassis is a pretty solid piece. This is the chassis. The empty front end will be where the engine goes. Where's the body? The body actually came in two pieces, but when I opened the box, all is one piece. This just goes up like that.
Yeah.
This, oops, there it goes. This will be the underside.
Yeah. And
I was thinking just like maybe one LED strip would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, or that, or some side-firing fiber optic.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's true, but I don't have any side, because I was thinking that it won't be. You can't see it from the side. No, this will be visible from the side.
No.
Here's the.
But you want it to shine down on your highly detailed running gear. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hide it up underneath everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them light up the bed so that it, because they make a lot of dirt and dust, and they have flags flying off them that they shine lights on, and there's just anything creative that a bored, extremely wealthy guy that has nothing better to do than to make a monster truck and take it around on the circuit. And make an ass of himself.
I don't know. I think it would be a lot of fun. I've never been to a monster truck show. I was told if you ever go, do get earplugs. It's awful loud.
Yes, they're extremely loud. You want to wear ear protection.
Yeah.
You'll see everybody that's working around there, they'll be wearing ear protection. But tractor pulls and monster truck things and truck pulls. I like the truck pulls because some of them look very much like a truck you might see on the road, but my God, they 1,000 horsepower spinning these huge tires at like 9,000 RPM. It's amazing what some of the things they do.
Mm-hmm. I tell you, if anybody ever sees me at a tractor pull, I would like you to shoot me right then and there. I've been just putting that out there,
One of them indoors. You haven't experienced noise and vibration hitting your chest and vibrating your chest until you've been indoors with a tractor that has a M60 tank engine in it.
Yeah.
That's a horizontally opposed 12-cylinder.
I'm sorry, guys. No. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry, Mike. No. Adelaide had the Grand Prix for nearly nigh on 11 years. There is something better than hearing a tractor. A turbocharged Formula One car.
Yeah,
Well,
that's not indoors.
That's the system.
I've seen video of tractors that do tractor pulls that actually have
That's not
jet
the same.
engine.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I didn't think this. I didn't know this was controversial.
It's not indoors. If it's not indoors and you're not sitting right there in the front of the bleachers right next to the tractor.
Here we go.
But you try that with Formula One. They don't do that indoors.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't need to be indoors for Formula One. You can fly. I mean, here are the cars from. I mean, just yesterday we had a couple of Formula One cars at the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. I could hear them from here.
Yeah.
Well, they say that even at NASCAR, if you're on the bleachers, you should be wearing ear protection because you only got one. You got at least a dozen of those cars racing around the track. It could get loud.
Well, NASCAR, they are engineered to be loud, and they're engineered to be fast.
Yeah.
It's the same with the Formula One.
If you take kids, you should make sure that your kids have ear protection at NASCAR or USAC or Formula One, any of those races. You should make sure that your kids are properly protected.
Unless you don't like them very much.
Well, but if you don't mind paying for the bill for hearing aids, then
God.
Speaking of Halloween build, this is what I'm building.
Get back on subject. Yeah.
Several years ago, my mother said, "I found an old model of yours. Do you want it?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, you know." And I didn't realize just how old this model was that she found for me. And it was in some pieces and needed, severe, heavy work. But anyway, this is an original release of the Aurora Wolfman.
Oh.
And it's missing a couple of parts, but I'm on my show. I'm going to build this and sculpt in some of the missing parts. It's got the base is gone, but you know I never liked the base that it came with anyway. So I'm going to build this and
when can we see this?
When my internet is actually letting me upload things. I've got 2 episodes ready to upload. It's just that my internet, for some reason, there have been a lot of outages in our area. The TV pixelates really bad, and the internet just drops out for a half an hour at a time or more.
Oh.
So,
what's wrong?
Aluminum foil and put it on the rabbit ears and then kind of just hold
that might do it, yeah.
Yeah, like they had in the aluminum foil like they had in the movie Signs that looked like make your hand look like a Hershey Kiss.
That might work. I did call cable and I told them I don't see why I should be paying my full bill when I'm only getting half of my internet and half of my television, So
you were going to Flash Gordon. You were going to. Have you started to change the pose, or have you designed it?
The model's not out yet.
Oh.
It's coming out, but it's not out yet. So as soon as it comes out, though, I'm buying it in a heartbeat.
Well, if anybody's watching, what he's talking about is this oldie but goodie right here.
Yeah.
Oh, Larry Buster Crabs.
That came out in '65. Yeah, and when I was a kid, the only place that in the town we lived in, there was a store that was a hardware store, a pharmacy, and they sold toys and models. And they had that model, and I wanted it really bad, but by the time I was able to get the money for it, it was gone. So it's kind of a...
You said you didn't care for the LGM...
I think the little Martian is kind of lame.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the ventriloquist purple puppet. What's his name?
Barney the dinosaur.
No.
No, I know who you mean.
Yeah. The slap happy.
Yeah. But
Matter of
yeah,
fact, that Martian scaled up that Martian with some tennis shoes. That looked pretty interesting.
that could be cool. Yeah. I was thinking of actually sculpting maybe a a Ming the Merciless or a Princess Ardala or something.
Princess Ardala, yes.
Yeah. Although that was Flash Gordon, or that was Buck Rogers, but still.
Yeah, Buck Rogers. Now, which one was the guy with the bullet helmet?
The Rocketeer? Commando Cody.
Commander Cody, yes, and these Lost Planet Airmen. No, wait a minute.
That's a band.
That's a band. Anyway, Commander Cody, I would have liked to have seen. They should have done a model of Commander Cody. They probably couldn't get the rights.
Well, I know that there were four. They called them the Rocket Man serials, and there were four different ones, and he was Larry Martin in one, and he was Commando Cody in one, and it was Radar Men from the Moon actually had Leonard Nimoy as a Martian.
Yeah.
In it, So
Radar Men from the Moon is classic.
Yeah, that's probably the best of the four. So.
And I like those. They had those trucks going down the road, and the canvas top would work its way forward, and this ray gun had come up. And, and then you had the guys that looked like they should be carrying Thompson submachine guns. They're working a ray gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they had these fantastic caves where you touch this one wall and it opened up into another room.
I love old movie serials, and I've got all four of those. There's something about those old movie serials that are just fun,
Yeah, they had great chase scenes. I mean, my goodness.
Well, yeah. Guess what happened? We murdered another hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We didn't just kill it; we murdered it mercilessly.
Ming the Mercilessly.
Ming the Mercilessly, yes.
If this is your first time joining us for this hangout about scale modeling, I want to view the past ones. Just go to my channel on YouTube at Scratch and Jack and subscribe, and perhaps like or dislike. If you don't like it, thumbs down. So what? That's how you are. Anyway. Every 2 weeks, what are you doing, Mike? You're playing with your toys again?
Yes.
And we have this every 2 weeks. Next time, let's see. Let me get its calendar out here. Next time.
November.
It will be already November. November 7th will be the Across the Pond. That's a Saturday hangout. And following Sunday on the 8th, we're going to have the Sunday hangout we're having today. And also, there's one thing I want to put out there. We're coming up on the November month, which means we're going to be having a 48-hour hangout. This is not going to be a broadcast hangout. This is a hangout to set off the holiday season and to meet and greet your fellow scale modelers. And we're going to try to keep the
it's a lot of fun.
For 48 hours. And I got to tell you, us modelers don't know how to count, because the first time we tried this, it was, 68 hours?
Last year was 78.
Last year it was about the same. It was like 65 hours.
78.
I count to 48. I don't know what's wrong with you people. Anyway, we're going to have that.
Call it 48 hours plus.
Right. We're going to start that on Black Friday, which is going to be November 27th. It's going to start at 8 a.m. Eastern, and hopefully it'll survive till 8 a.m. Sunday.
And then go on.
I gotta get on. You know what? You're in Aussie land there, Mr. Heath.
Yes.
And, so is Spike, and Spike has been the one that's been anchoring. I'm going to send him a message because he has his crew that hangs out with him, and then when I take over, I have my crew, and sometimes we get to meet. The crossover gets to meet, and we're looking for people who are willing to put in maybe 8 hours of it to keep it open. Anyway,
I'll gladly help out.
Yeah, we used to get Christina to hold it open too for a while.
Yeah, Christina is in the UK. Maybe we're going to get Carwin to do
Carwin, yeah. Yeah, he's not doing nothing, so might as well
that. He said he's actually going back to work in a couple of weeks. Yeah, he's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is...
there's a Tasmanian we might be able to get to hold it for an hour or so.
The Tasmanian Devil. He's moving to Queensland. He's going to be a...
Yes, he's moving to Queensland. Devil.
He's going to be a Queenslander. He's
going to be a banana bender.
Because of the, anyway, Keith, if you're watching, I'm sorry you wasn't able to show up. It would be nice to have you too. Anyway, this is Scratch and Jack, your host for the Amazing Plastic Hangouts. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Happy modeling, everyone. Good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.